guys? Mike here, head trader, True Trading Group. February 28th, closing the month off with a bang. RKDA, big win today, home run trade. In at 782, final take profit 992, well over $2 a share on that final take profit. This RKDA was a big one. What I'm going to talk to you about in this video is, I want to go over this RKDA trade with you, but the thing that I'm going to talk to you most about is about a statistic that I want you to pay attention to in your own trading that I think can help you a lot. I recommend that everybody keeps a journal. Okay, I have all of our True Trading Group members. They all keep journals. They all keep tabs on their trades to see, what trades, what patterns they have success at, what patterns they have problems with. Maybe what time of day are they successful versus a time of day that they're consistently losing, and really try to figure out, different things within their trading that they can work on to help either improve, that can help improve their trading. So this has to do with your average win size and your average loss size, and it talks a little bit about the importance of keeping your losers small and using my tier trading method to stay in winning trades longer, because I actually made a couple of losing trades in the morning in a couple of other names like TTOO, TGTX. I had a couple of losing trades in the morning, and I was able to come back with this RKDA and not only make back what I lost in the morning, but go well into the profit, because this ended up being a home run trade on this RKDA. It was really was an awesome trade. But the point is that I'm able to cover, I'm able to cover two losing trades and then some by staying in the winning trade longer and by keeping my losers small. Your average winning trade better be bigger than your average losing trade. And that's a stat that I want you to pay attention to. Go back, calculate all your trades. I think TraderView is a software that does this also. I'm pretty sure it's free. It has a free service too. You can check that out. I think some of our members use that. It's either TradeView or TraderView. View, I think, was spelled VUE, if I'm not mistaken. But it's something like that, guys. But it's a really good software, and it can calculate all these averages for you. And the reason for that is because you're going to put so much pressure on yourself as a trader if your average loss and your average win is the same, or even worse, if your average loss is larger than your average win. Because if you make 10 trades, and you are right 50% of the time, you make 5 winning trades, 5 losing trades, which an inexperienced trader or a novice trader, that's kind of in line with where your stats probably are at. If your average win and loss are the same, you're going to be break even. Should not be the case. If you're right 50% of the time, you should still be profitable, because your average win should be bigger than your average loss. It's actually possible for you to be wrong more than you're right and still be profitable by increasing that spread between your average win and your average loss. So what you don't want to have happen is your average loss is larger than your average win. You are handicapping yourself so much, and you're making it so hard on yourself, because now, in order for you to be profitable, you're going to have to be right 75% of the time. Those are professional trader stats. If you're right 70 to 75% of the time, that's your win rate. That's pro trader status. Don't put that pressure on yourself, because if your average loss is bigger, let's say, than your average winner, and you make 10 trades and you have 6 winning trades and 4 losing trades, you will be down money at the end of that if your average loss is bigger than your average win. That's way too much pressure that you're putting on yourself. It should be the other way. You need to get it to a point where you're right only 4 out of 10 times, and you're still coming away either break even or slightly profitable. You have, let's say, for example, your average win is $250. And your average loss is $225, you need to start to separate that gap, that spread, You need to either get the average 250 up while maintaining the loss, or you've got to maintain the win and get that average loss down. Either way, you've got to increase that spread between those two numbers. And that's something that you really should know what your average win and average loss is, and really, really focus on stretching that spread out as far as you can. When you get that spread, really, those two numbers really start to spread apart, that's when you're ready to increase your position size. And that's when you can start to slowly scale yourself up, and you can use it that way as well. Because I made two losing trades in the morning, and I was able to come out still with a green day with just the one winning trade. I also made a trade in ZSAN. I made a little bit of money on ZSAN. It wasn't anything crazy. I was in at 560. I took some off at 580. I sold the rest at 560. It was not, it wasn't anything to write home about. So let's just forget about that. But I had two losing trades in TTOO and TGTX, and one winning trade in RKDA cancels that out and puts me well into the green. Okay, now granted, RKDA was a home run trade, but still, nonetheless, the point of the lesson that I'm trying to make here is that you have to make sure that your average win is always bigger. And that's why it's so important that you stick to your stop losses and you keep your losses small, and use the tier trading method to hold on to a piece of your position to stay in the winning trade longer. Sticking to your stop losses is going to get your average loss down. Using the tier trading method to stay in winning trades longer is going to bring your average win up. Okay, and that's how you can start to really separate that spread. All right, and it's so important, because like I said, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage if those numbers are even, or if your average losing trade is bigger than your average winner. You're putting pressure on yourself to be right 65-70% of the time in order for you to be profitable. Okay, don't put that added pressure on yourself. So check that out, go back, review your trades, figure out these numbers, and then ask yourself, what's the issue? Okay, why are your win and loss the same? Go back and look at your trades. Are you holding on to losers too long? Are you not being disciplined with your stop losses? Or maybe it's the exact opposite. Maybe you're selling your winners too soon. You're not letting your winning trades work in your favor. You're too quick to jump out and try to lock that profit because you're trading your P&L rather than trading the stock and the setup that's in front of you. Okay? You have to figure out what the reason is for this and fix it. Nobody's gonna do this besides you. No one's gonna analyze your trading stats and everything besides you. You have to do this. This is why it's so important to keep that journal, and you have to critique your own trading. You've got to figure this stuff out, because you've got to make these little tweaks. These are the little differences that can really help you scale yourself up and grow in your development as a trader and get to the level that you want to be at. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about. Now let's get into this RKDA trade. It was a thing of beauty. It was a double bottom gap up pattern with a trade line VWAP crossover. It was a tough double bottom gap up. I'm not going to lie. This was actually a tricky one. It wasn't as smooth as I would have liked, but nonetheless, it was still there. So here is your initial morning low, okay? And then the trade line, this yellow line on my screen, comes up into play, lines up right at that initial morning low. And then you see we had this little push here to try to get up and break VWAP, and then we got denied, and we came all the way back down, okay, back below the trade line, back to retest that low. It looked like it wanted to go right there at that attempt at VWAP, and then it failed, okay? But that initial low still held, and then the trade line finally was able to solidify itself to give you some support, and then we pushed above VWAP. Now, as I zoom this in, okay, you guys can see that after we got above VWAP, we had a really nice long consolidation above VWAP, where VWAP held support long enough for the trade line to catch up to VWAP. When you are looking for this type of a pattern, this double bottom gap up pattern, where a stock gaps up, pulls in, puts in a double bottom, in this case a triple bottom, gets above VWAP, you want to see VWAP hold the stock up long enough so the trade line can catch up, cross up and over VWAP, and then push the stock through the high of the day. So once I saw that this RKDA trade, let me go back and delete all this so it's a little bit more clear. Once I saw we were holding VWAP, I entered right there at $7.82. I'll take you to my trade announcements. You guys can see I was active today. Here's the TTOO, TGTX losing trades. Here's the ZSAN small win. And then here's the home run RKDA trade. So here you can see at 1031, long at 782, stop loss just below VWAP at 750. Okay, and you can see we got the crossover, and once we crossed over, the trade line just continued to hold and just push the stock right through the high of the day. Okay, when on this type of pattern, your first profit target is going to be the high of the day. So right there was my first take profit. Right here, you guys can see at 826, my first take profit, still holding some. We then shot right through the high of the day, got real nice extension, $9. My next take profit, go back to my trade announcements. Here it is at $9. And then now here's where the tier trading method comes into play. And I say to myself, okay, I'm holding on to this one last piece. You get a pullback down to retest the initial morning high. And what happens when during that pullback? What do we see? Look at that. VWAP comes back in to save the day. VWAP previously showed us there was an area of support back here when we initially entered the trade. You got the breakthrough the high of the day on a nice strong increase in volume. You get the pullback, previous high, VWAP, hold support, continue higher, bang, and we get a breakout going into lunchtime. Okay, and on this breakout going to lunchtime, right there, I dropped my final piece at $9.92 at 12:04 in the afternoon. Okay, so here's the entry, profit 1, profit 2, profit 3. And this profit 3, this is the way that you pull that average winning trade up. Okay, it's by holding on to a piece of the position. I held 25% of my position. Okay, so here's the entry, 25% I dropped right here, 50% I dropped right here, and that last 25% I dropped right here. So it allows you to stay in a winning trade longer, let it play itself out, get the most out of that trade, and then you can see as I pan this over, that take profit was spot on with that lunchtime breakout, and you see we ended up failing and pulling way back in the afternoon, and this was a home run trade. Okay, big win today. A lot of members in chat caught this trade. I was getting a lot of messages. For those of you that are on the YouTube channel that are members, congratulations today to those of you that caught it. You guys know who you are. And that's the lesson. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Make sure that you know those stats. You've got to figure out those stats. You can't make this more harder on yourself than it already is. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Try to increase that spread, the difference between your average win and your average loss, and that'll get you well on your way to profitability and consistent profitability, and that's the key. That's the focus. That's everybody's goal. If you want to do this for a living, you have to be consistent. Making 100 grand in 1 month does you no good if you lose 95 grand the next month. Making 5 grand 1 month does you no good if you lose 5 grand the next month. You have to be able to do this consistently. Okay, and that's why I go over all these things. That's why I teach the strategies and the methodologies and the rules that I do to our members, is to instill and build that level of consistency. And this is just one of those many things that can help get you on your way to that level. Okay, so hopefully I'm looking to close the week out strong tomorrow. Nice day here today. Thanks to RKDA. I'll see you guys in chat tomorrow.